or some type of computer science or whatever the case may be, where are you going to work at? All of those skilled jobs are foreign off seas. Most of the top-notch manufacturing is done overseas.
Obama said that those type of jobs that the elder's talking about, he even said it about like Apple and all that, said that those jobs aren't coming back anymore. He said that.
Apple's not coming back here. You think Apple's gonna come here? You think IBM is gonna come here? That motherfucking iPhone 5, how much is it? $500-600? Yeah. If they was assembling it here in the United States, they'd probably be selling that damn thing for trying to get $1,500 for it. Because the people that assemble it are probably going to be getting paid anywhere from $14 to maybe $20 an hour working at Apple to assemble the iPhone here in the United States. But over there in China, they're not being paid that an hour. They might be getting what, 92 cents an hour? Anywhere from 32 cents to maybe 92 cents an hour for the Chinese labor. That company is not, that American-born company is not coming back over here to set up shop. Because it's not about Americans getting jobs. It's about money. It's about taking something that costs you $5 to make, material, labor, and shipping, and charging $1,500 for the shit. Why do you think they got a Louis Vuitton store on 5th Avenue? They got a Gucci store over there. Here it is, you got guys that go insane out of their mind to buy one of these damn hoes a Louis Vuitton bag or a Gucci bag. Spend $800 on a Gucci bag or $1,500 on a Louis Vuitton bag. And it costs them like $5 a bag to make. And then $5 to make and ship it over here to be sold on 5th Avenue for $1,500. The same way Nike does with their sneakers. They got sneakers that are $160, maybe $200. It costs them maybe $5 to $7 to make them. Made in Taiwan. That's to make them, that's for the materials, that's for the labor to put them together. That's also the shipping and handling to get it over here to the store. $160. $7 it costs them to make it. Them companies are not coming over here. Because it's about taking that money and stretching it as far as you can stretch it. Go ahead, brother.
Can I add something real quick? You just mentioned Apple, and the CEO of Apple, Steve Wozniak, he just packed up and moved to Australia. His whole family, like James Cameron to New Zealand, it's not just him doing it for like a project. He moved his entire family to Australia.
Because you know why? These people know that there's going to be riots soon in America. And anybody who has a chunk of money, people are going to be banging down their fucking doorstep. People that live in Scarsdale, live up in Upper Westchester County, that live out in Long Island, they got these nice, beautiful mansions and homes. Out there in the Hamptons, 15, 10, 20, $30 million homes. When those people go shopping, they pay somebody to do their shopping for them. And when they go shopping, they don't go and buy a couple of cans of beans and a bag of rice. They get skids of shit. They get skids, shrink wrapped with stuff delivered to their house. So when the trucks stop bringing food into these stores here in the city, there's going to be riots here in the city. People are going to be fighting for bread, fighting for milk, fighting for cheese, fighting for the last can of beans in the supermarket. And once that's all said and done, people are going to branch out to where those rich people live to go and kill their ass and take their shit. That's what happens. The same thing happened with in France with Marie Antoinette. Marie Antoinette's dumbass. The people were starving. She said, "Well, if the people can't," she said, "if the people can't afford to eat bread, then eat cake. Then how the hell you gonna?" That's why her and her husband. They killed them right in their own castle. The people stormed that castle and murdered their ass right there in the house. Marie Antoinette. If they can't eat bread, then eat cake. Cake is more intricate to make than bread. It's like the same, but it's a little different. You got a lot of different things that go into making a cake. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's getting ready to go down here. Mind you, you got this summer 26 states. The president declared 26 states in a drought disaster. The states out there towards the Midwest that grow the crops that feed the whole country. 26 states under drought disaster. So that means those crops got destroyed because they got burned to death. There wasn't no water. So the price of everything is about to start shooting up. Price of gas is going to go up. Now, one of the brothers seen the movie Atlas Shrugged. They got the movie out called Atlas Shrugged Part 2 in the theaters now. But Atlas Shrugged Part 1, no pictures. The first one, in the movie Atlas Shrugged Part 1, gas was like $37.50. $37.50 a gallon. And that movie Atlas Shrugged is a microcosm of what's getting ready to touch down here in the United States. Because that movie Atlas Shrugged is based off the book Atlas Shrugged by a woman named Ayn Rand, who was a mistress to the basically the richest family on the planet, the Rothschild family. One of the Rothschild sons was dealing with Ayn Rand. That was his woman, and she wrote a book Atlas Shrugged based off of the New World Order that they plan on bringing about. And that's what the movie Atlas Shrugged entails. If you can watch Atlas Shrugged Part 1, I believe they got it on Netflix. You can probably get it if you got AT&T Uverse. I think they got an on-demand thing where you can order it and see it there. Part 2 is out in the theaters right now. And it's dealing with what's getting ready, the financial collapse or economic collapse that's getting ready to hit America now. You got something?
Isaiah 14:11. Thy pomp is brought down to the grave.
Your pomp is talking about your pride. That pride, that so-called American pride, that's going to be brought down to the ground, man. It's going to be brought down to the grave. As it is, people really don't, people halfway don't give a shit about each other right now. Now imagine when you got people living on the same street, and this guy across the street, his kids are crying because they got no food. They're crying because their stomach, they're hungry for food, but their father and mother can't feed them. But you across the street, you sitting there cooking eggs and toast and turkey bacon. What you think he gonna do? He gonna come from across the street to your house, and he probably might ask you, look, we don't have no food. And you're like, look, I give you, then I ain't got for my kids. Do you know what's gonna happen? Somebody gonna kill somebody. Somebody gonna kill somebody and take that damn food. Then the house next door, same thing's gonna happen. Then the house down the block, the same thing's gonna happen. Then 2 blocks away, the same thing is gonna be jumping off. There's gonna be utter chaos in all the major cities in the United States. Utter chaos. Go ahead.
Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vials. The worm is spread under thee.
The worm represents corrosion. The worm is spread under thee. And what was it? The History Channel, they did they went around the United States and they were documenting the bridges and the roads, how all of these bridges that were built back in the 50s and in the 60s, you got the overpasses of the highway, which that's a highway bridge, how they're all rotted and decaying, and they need to be redone badly. Like the Tappan Zee Bridge, man, that damn thing is rotted out. They finally said they allocated $10 billion to build a new bridge, Tappan Zee Bridge up over there. I don't know where they got the $10 billion from. Because New York is supposedly broke. The state of New York is broke. The state of California is broke. The state of New Jersey is broke. I don't know where they got the money from, but they say that they're broke. The Tappan Zee Bridge, that damn thing is rotted. The George Washington Bridge is rotted all under it. That's why you see them with the trucks lined up on the bridge, and they got the crane hanging off of the bridge with a guy in a basket under the bridge. Because they're constantly under there checking and assessing what's going on with the undercarriage of that bridge. Because it's really ready to drop right into the goddamn Hudson. All the bridges, when you're on the highway on 95, and you're going by, hell, get on, what is that, 138th Street, and you go up under the Bruckner, 278, the Bruckner, which is above you, you can see under the Bruckner, every one of the metal beams got nothing but rust on them. They're supposed to be like a light green, but it's light green with a lot of brown rust all over. Totally rusted out. You can't just put a coat of paint on rust. You got to grind that rust off of it. Then you got to primer coat it. Then you paint it. Nothing but rust up under there. You had that bridge in Minneapolis a couple years back that just dropped during traffic. That bridge in Minneapolis, it just collapsed. And was it the History Channel? The people that did the documentary on the infrastructure of America, they gave it, what, a D? And that was being generous. They gave America's infrastructure a D. People are too stupid to know what's going on. They're living right here in the downfall of the society, and they don't see it. The same thing happened with the Roman Empire. What made Rome great? It wasn't just Rome's military might and the fact that they could galvanize and send 80,000 men to Germania or something and just lay down a whole bunch of people. What made Rome great was the fact that they had roads, their infrastructure. They had roads that enabled the military to travel from one area to another area, and very quickly, because they had roads that were open, that were graded. They had aqueducts that brought the water in. They had aqueducts. And towards the end of the Roman Empire, the aqueducts were falling apart. They weren't investing in redoing the aqueducts. They weren't taking care of the roads, just like here in America right now. And then on top of that, the Roman currency had to be devalued. The Roman currency was called, I believe, the denarius. During the time of Marcus Aurelius had to devalue the denarius by about 25%. When Marcus Aurelius, if you've seen the movie Gladiator with Russell Crowe, that was dealing with the time of Marcus Aurelius. During the time of Marcus Aurelius, he had to drop the value of the denarius by about 25%. And the way he did it was they took them and melted it down, and they added other inferior metals into it so they can stretch it to compensate to pay the military and pay for the different things that Rome had to deal with. Then after Marcus Aurelius, when Severus Septimius came in, Septimius had to knock down the denarius another 25%. So from the time of Marcus Aurelius to Severus Septimius, the denarius was devalued about half of its value. The same thing is going on with the American dollar. The American dollar ain't worth shit. That's why nobody wants to carry it. It used to be the reserve currency of the world. The Russians backed off of it. The Chinese were the last ones that were basically holding up the dollar. The Chinese backed off, what, 2-3 years ago? They kicked that shit out of here. Now you got these other nations are making deals with each other to work with each other's different currencies because they're not using the American dollar as the reserve currency no more because it ain't worth shit. That's the same reason why they went over there after Saddam Hussein during the Bush administration. When Bin Laden was the #1 target, they left Bin Laden alone and went after Saddam Hussein. Saddam Hussein didn't have shit to do with 9/11. What was the U.S. government fucking with him for? The reason being is because Saddam told the U.S. government during the Bush regime, whatever oil you want, you can have as many barrels of oil you want. I don't want no American dollars for the oil. Take that shit and